Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an OP Storm Sorcerer Build guide for in Baldur's Gate 3. Now the draconic bloodline sorcerer seems to be the most popular one, but I think that the Storm Sorcerer can have some very powerful synergy. Now the sorcerer is, I think, the most overpowered class in the game, and I'm going to get into some tips on how to make it so overpowered. Now for our cantrips, I'm the face of the party. This is my character, my Dark Urge here. So I think that Friends is one of the best cantrips in the game. If you're the face of your party, if this is for another teammate, don't even bother with that. So for another cantrip, Minor Illusion's great because you can group enemies together if you want to drop a fireball on them. I think that also having Shocking Grasp can be good against some bosses, as this allows them to, or this stops them from using their reactions. And then for our final one, Mage Hand can be a pretty good one, or Bone Chill to stop them from taking healing. So that's what we're going to go with for those. For our spells, Magic Missile is one of the best because you can upcast this later for some really powerful usage, which I'll get into. Mage Armor can be nice as well. Chromatic Orb. Depends really what you're going for in terms of your build, but I think that going with something like Mage Armor can be great. Chromatic Orb's another good damaging one. And for our subclass, we're going Storm Sorcery here. So this at level, after you cast a level 1 spell, you can, or higher, you can fly as a bonus action at the end of your turn without receiving opportunity attacks. So this allows you just to position yourself, get out of the way of some damage. And for our ability points, obviously dumping strength, dexterity, constitution, and I think that the most important stat that we go for is making sure our constitution's at 16. The more health we can get, the better. We'll take our intelligence down to 10 to bump our dexterity up, because that's going to help us out with that mage armor. And something like that looks pretty good for our stats. Now, ideally, you'll be using the Hag's Hair on your charisma to get it boosted up to 18. That's going to be very optimal for this build, because the higher the charisma, the higher the numbers you'll see when you damage foes. Now, this build is going full 12 levels in Sorcerer, because the Sorcerer is crazy powerful, and it should not be any type of multi-class, because you're just losing out on the strength of this. So our next option, we're going to go with Chromatic Orb. It's nice just to have the ability to change your damage type around. Sleep can be somewhat useful, and Thunder Wave is great for knock enemies off cliffs, but I think that Chromatic Orb is one of the better ones. Now for our meta magic, this is where the class becomes broken. So Distance Spell increases the range of spells by 50%. Extended Spells doubles the duration. Twin Spell, spells that can only target one can target an additional creature. Cost 1 sorcery point per spell slot. This is crazy because we're going to be using haste on 2 targets. This is just simply broken. Also, Chain Lightning can be twinned, and that's just crazy amounts of damage. Distance Spell can be nice too if you need to hit something a little bit further away. So yeah, something like that looks good. And then for that, we'll just leave it as is. So this build can get pretty intense, as we're going to get into. So we get another meta magic here. So what we're going to be going with is we're going to take, for level 2 spell, Clouded Daggers can be quite nice, just to have some crowd control. You put it out of the doorway and enemies are stuck there dealing with that. Scourging Ray is obviously a very powerful spell early on. It's a great damage dealer that can be upcasted, deals fire damage. And then for our meta magic, Quicken Spell is great. So you can cast a fireball, and then spells that cost an action cost a bonus action instead. You pop this and drop another fireball. It's crazy, super powerful. Subtle Spell can be decent too. Gives you the ability to cast a spell when silenced, but that doesn't come often. So Quicken Spell, obviously the best one here. We'll go with that. So for level 3, we're now going to get our feat, which can bring this build together a little bit more. And yeah, for cantrips, we're going to go with maybe something like Bone Chill. I think that's one of the better ones that you can go with. True Strike's not that great. Use an action to just give advantage on your next attack roll. Not that good. For our next level 2 spell, Hold Person can be actually quite nice, just to be able to keep an enemy still. And I think that this actually works really great. So you can go with that, or you can go with Cloud of Daggers. No bad option here. Either of those are great. So we'll next pick for our feat. We need to make sure that our charisma is leveled off. Now, I don't want anyone to bark at me, but we're going to assume that we use the Hag's Hair to pump our charisma up to 18. And then we can just take this all the way up to 20. And then that's pretty solid. We'll just pretend that's 20 and not 19. So no comments barking at me saying that I left it uneven. This is just a hypothetical that we would have taken the Hag's Hair for that. So next we get into our level 5, we get another spell, and we are obviously going to be taking Fireball. This is very nice to have. Sleet Storm can be good too, disrupts concentrations. Lightning Bolt can be good. Actually no, we're going to take Haste, because Haste Twinned is crazy powerful. So target yourself or an ally to become hastened, gain an action, become faster, and gain a +2 to armor class. So you can target yourself and then target one other to have haste on them. This is insane. It's just so powerful. By this point, you might not need your mage armor, so we can shuttle this away, and we can pick up our Fireball. So that way we at least have it at this level. I think that that's pretty decent. If you don't need to use mage armor, that's kind of a good option to go with. I typically don't really remove spells, but in this case of the sorcerer, this is really nice. So we start to get some more class options here. So Heart of the Storm, when you class level 1 or higher, spell level 1 or higher, it deals thunder or lightning damage. You can cause a small local storm. All enemies within take 3 lightning or 3 thunder damage. And then we gain resistance to lightning and thunder damage. And we get a few spells here, so that's nice just to be able to get the Call Lightning. Lightning strikes all targets within range. Then for 10 turns, you can call out lightning again without expending a spell slot. Pretty good. Sleet Storm, again, I mentioned this is really nice to have to interrupt the concentration of spellcasters. It doses fires and creates a nice surface. Gust of Wind summons a strong wind to clear all clouds. You can push things off of the edge. So if you have enemies near an edge, 5 meters pushback is nice. And then you also get the Thunder Wave too, just for free. So that's nice just to get a little bit extra utility in there. And then Create or Destroy Water. This is actually quite powerful because this can set up, if you create an area of water, ice damage, thunder and lightning damage are going to deal more damage to targets, double damage. So that can be really nice. And then for our next slot of spells, we're going to take Counter Spell, because this can be really nice. You stop it. It's a reaction that stops a spell from being cast. Super powerful. And Fly, yeah, we're gonna get Fly. So that looks good for level 6 Storm Sorcerer. As we go into level 7 Sorcerer, this is where we get another spell here at level 4. So there's a few different options. We can go with an Ice Storm, gives you cold damage and bludgeoning damage. And then it creates an icy surface, which you can then Fireball to create water. And then you can use lightning to deal double damage. So that can be quite powerful. Dimension Door is nice for moving around. You take an ally with you to somewhere that you can see. Blight can deal a lot of damage against plants. Wall of Fire is a great crowd control. I think that Wall of Fire is nice because you can actually hit a lot of targets with that. So either Ice Storm or Wall of Fire works pretty great. And we'll take that for our level 7. As we progress into the next level, level 8, we get ourselves another feat here. So this is pretty nice for our next spell that we're going to take. Ice Storm, pretty nice. Or we can take Cloud Daggers if you didn't take that prior. And then for our feat, now this can go many different ways. It really depends what you think you need overall for your class. Like we could, pretending this is the 20 charisma, we'd be fine there. But you can get a Spell Sniper, which increases your chance of hitting a critical hit. So this is actually pretty good. It gives you a 5% extra chance to hit a critical hit, which is actually pretty good. And I think that can be nice. Warcaster gives you advantage on saving throws to maintain concentration. So if you don't want to lose your concentrations on spells, that can be really nice. And then you can also use reaction to cast Shocking Grasp at a target moving out of melee range. So that can be nice. Just give yourself a reaction and the concentration. That's one option you can go with. But I think that taking an ability improvement, we'll take our charisma to 20. We'll just pretend, and then we'll take. We'd likely put our constitution up to 18. That would give us extra health there, up to 66. But since we didn't take the Hag's Hair, we'll just say that's 18 and that's 20. The Hag's Hair is very crucial for a lot of builds, especially if you're the face of the party, and. At level 9 here, we start to get level 5 spells. So Insect Plague can give you nice difficult terrain and area of effect damage. Telekinesis can be okay at times. Hold Monster can be really nice because this can hold any creature at all. That doesn't mean, except for undead. So this can hold person and also just hold monsters. Cone of Cold can create snow crystals from your hand. I think that having options to be able to deal damage like that is quite nice, especially with the ability to create water and the options that we'll be doing that with. So we're going to take, you can take off hold person, and then we can learn hold monster. I think that that's a decent option, but if you find you're using hold person more, we can stick with that. As we get to level 10, this is where we get some more cantrips and another meta magic, so that's quite nice. Blade Ward can be good one just to have for survivability. Our level 5 spell, again, it's entirely your choice here. I think that Insect Plague can have some uses as it creates difficult terrain, so you can keep enemies away from you with that pretty well. Cloud Kill can be nice. Craft a large cloud that deals 5 to 40 poison damage, and you can reposition the cloud every turn. So either Insect Plague or Cloud Kill. Just depends what you think you need more. If you want to have that difficult terrain and impose disadvantage on perception checks, that can be pretty good. Now for our next meta magic, we can double the duration and conditions, summons, etc. Allies that automatically succeed a saving throw against spells that require them. Targets of spells that require saving throws have disadvantage on their saving throw. That's for 3 points, can be kind of tricky to use. I think that subtle spell can be nice. You can cast spells while silenced. Pretty useful whenever we're later on in the game and you may get silenced, and then pretty much the sorcerer is like unable to do really anything at that point, so it's nice to have that in those particular instances. So that's a level 10 sorcerer. As we get to level 11, this is where we get our final level of spells. Disintegrate is a crazy powerful. This is like Dragon Ball Z Frieza shooting the laser from his finger. 50 to 100 damage. Enough said. Shoot a thin green ray from your finger. If the 50 to 100 force damage reduces the target to 0 points, it disintegrates into a crumbly ash. So just a huge flex. But Call Lightning is really where this build comes together, because we're a Storm Sorcerer. We're doing storm things. We're going to take Chain Lightning because we can dual cast. This is where this build gets crazy. We can dual cast this and create 2 Call Lightnings, and then they'll, you know, do what Lightning does best and damage everything in the area. Globe of Invulnerability is really nice too. It makes you immune to all damage. This can be life-saving later on in the game, but I would recommend having maybe like a wizard on your team that has this, but it can be a nice option if you need more defense, especially if you're playing on honor mode. But our final level here, level 12 sorcerer, we're going to get ourselves some more meta magic and another spell slot. I think a Disintegrate can be really great, so Disintegrate's like one of the highest damaging spells in the game. Either that or Globe of Invulnerability. We can change our spells if you want to maybe take off something like Chromatic Orb. That's the only really, or I guess maybe like Wall of Fire or Ice Storm, whatever of these you use less of. We can then take our Disintegrate with that. And for the final feat, we could continue to pump our Constitution a little bit higher, but I think that Alert is one of the best things that we could put on a sorcerer, as this gives us a +5 to initiative and we can't be surprised. What's nice about this is the +5 to initiative means we're moving fast. In honor mode, you can get completely stomped if you don't have this, so very nice to have. But that's roughly what it's going to look like there for the Storm Sorcerer. The Storm Sorcerer is quite powerful because we got the options to increase the range of our spells. We can go ahead and do twinned spells, which allows us to cast multiple haste, which is just crazy, so you can haste yourself and another party member. That's kind of what this build's about, is using your sorcery points. Also, if you need to, you can create spell slots. Where is it here? So yeah, you can use sorcery points to unlock spell slots, which is kind of nice. All the electricity damage is great, so we typically, as a Storm Sorcerer, want to be taking advantage of, like, create water and then use that in an area and then just call down a ton of lightning. That is a very powerful way of going about, and you can even clear it. Like, if you call in lightning, or you call in your water there, and then you go with a nice twin spell, and you go with your lightning there, this gets pretty crazy pretty quickly. So there it is, Storm Sorcerer in Baldur's Gate 3. I think the Sorcerer is the most overpowered class in the game. The gear, you go with whatever you can best get. The Sorcerer is going to be dealing a lot of damage, so obviously if you can get the Charisma +2 hat, go for that, because more Charisma the better. But there you go, Storm Sorcerer build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. Hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you all in the next video.